died trying. Y'all will see the thumbnail later on, but you see the title. You know, it pays. It pays to be a piece of ish. Um, I started thinking about it. I got frustrated a little bit today, but when you're listening to, when you're looking at just history, look up to social media now. I hate to say this, but you see more stories of success with people who ain't ish than you do good people. You get what I'm saying? Even think about it in a biblical sense. Everybody's, so many Christians in America, uh, but the vast majority of the people in the Bible weren't successful. You know what I'm saying? But they talked about a lot of successful people who wasn't ish. So this is why I talk about this topic. Then when it comes to, you fast forward, when it comes to American history, right? A lot of the successful people you see in American history wasn't ish. They really wasn't good people at all. Really wasn't good people at all. And you get in the modern day society, and a lot of times what people are, people root for the underdog, and that's true. But people gravitate to the people who ain't ish. You know, you get to even the social media space. The news. The news, constantly talks to you about the worst things going on in the world. Social media, you constantly seeing people who, are really being ain't-ish people on purpose to get money. I'm not saying there aren't good people out there. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, not only does being a piece of ish pay, but people gravitate to a piece of ish. You get what I'm saying? And this has happened so long in society that, in my opinion, it's one of the reasons, when people like to talk about, culture and people's culture and what's going on with America. Well, part of what's going on is, the ain't-ish culture. Like, you can't have so many heroes that were murderers and thieves and, child predators and, scammers and horrible businessmen and exploiters, traffickers of whatever, and then go, "Oh, but we're good people because we all say Jesus is our Lord and Savior." That's not how they go. That's not how they go. And for me as a person, I see it in society and people. People people get an enjoyment out of screwing other people over. What's going on, Patrick? What's going on, Garrison? People get an enjoyment out of it. You see the smile in people's eyes, even when their face might be snarling, but their eyes are smiling like, "Oh, I get to do somebody dirty. Yes, yes. This is what I've been waiting on." It's like, okay, because it pays. Like I did a video not too long ago. I was asking will there be like a Hispanic martyr, because they had the cops, Homeland Security, ICE agents, the people that they newly hired or whatever. And one of them was like, "Hey man, we're gonna have to start shooting these people, because they getting a little too out of rambunctious for us." And but then they laughed about, "Man, but I'm gonna get my bonus though." It's like, yeah, you would kill a person for a $30,000 bonus. As long as somebody says, "Hey man, it's good," you know. Right now, you have the presidential thing where, oh, let's not erase Black history, but let's just change it a little bit because, people are finding out that, the people who founded this country and everything this country was founded on was really some BS, and a lot of people who are pieces of ish really made their bones by being devilish individuals so they can make money from oppressing and and killing and setting up this group of people. But let's not tell nobody. Let's not tell nobody. No, 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 no. I don't want people to know. I want them to think people are heroes. It's like, yeah, man, that's what the country was built on. That's what the country's built on. You know, it becomes more than problematic because it's a weird dynamic where it pays to be a piece of ish, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, people expect somebody who's a good person to just suffer in silence. Hey, just suffer. You a good person. That means you gonna get it in heaven. God gonna do it for you in heaven. No, no, dog. No, dog. You're not finna tell me that you believe that okay, you know you believe in God, but you believe God wants you to suffer on earth so you can get into heaven. And all of the people who are, I'm not gonna say all the people, but the people who are successful on earth, who are pieces of ish, they're bound to go to hell. No, no, that don't make sense. Like, Donald Trump's ear. I ain't even talking about race, you stupid fuck. This is what I be talking about, man. Don't come here with your dumb shit. This is talking about principle, but you sucking all this Trump dick that you can't understand that. Get your bitch ass out of here. Give a fuck about goddamn politics right now, you dick sucking bitch. This is a problem. But see, I become the bad guy for addressing somebody with bitch ways like the bitch they are. Y'all gonna realize at a certain point in life that people get tired of people thinking it's okay to be a jerk to somebody, and they go, oh, I can hide behind a keyboard. Oh, I can hide behind my position. Oh, I can hide behind my money. Oh, I can hide behind my race. Oh, I can hide behind my religion. Man, hey, man, y'all gonna start getting all the hate y'all put out into the world in y'all lifetime, in this lifetime. In this lifetime. And since you want to be a hateful person, cool. Just remember that when it's time to pay the karma bill. Don't bitch out and become we're all brothers, friends, God. No, hit none of that shit. I got you. I got you, fam. But this is where we're at in the world. It pays to be a piece of ish. That's where you see that's why you see people who are provocative. The being provocative makes people feel something. Being disrespectful makes people feel something. Being disrespectful is supposed to make people feel something. And the flip side of it, being positive is boring. Being a good person is boring. Or doing the right thing is boring. So you made bad good and good bad. And you pay bad good and pay good bad. And I'm not even, and I'm using money as a reference because basically, this is American capitalism, but it's to the point where people have said it ad nauseum, for decades, for my whole life, uh, um, the headlines is what people want to read, something salacious, right? And after a while, you grow up and you're like, man, I do not want to see or hear no more of this um, cycle of negativity, and I don't want to give it no more attention. I don't want to give people who are like that um, any like a shine. But then it comes a point where you got to go, hey man, no, no. If it's supposed to be a war against right and wrong and a war against good and evil, well, guess what? It's time. You got to go to war with people sometimes. No, because they're willing to go to war with you. Because now it becomes, is going to war with being a good person. It doesn't pay. But going to war with good people being a bad person does. Well, hey man, we just gonna have to go to war then. That's what it is. You get what I'm saying? That's what it is. So it comes a point where when I look at America, when I look at the world, we've excused, whether religion, politics, just regular day-to-day dealings. Like, think about it. I'm gonna do this in a regular term. Remember when the thing happened with Mangione, when he shot the insurance? He wasn't. I don't think he was a CEO, but tycoon. Let's just say the insurance guy, the guy that was like the head of United Health. Insurance companies take your money every month, and then they pay, and what it is, they overcharge every month. They take your money every month. You might not use that insurance maybe once a year, yearly physical. And then one day things get bad and you need to use it a lot. And that same insurance company goes, can't do it. I'll help this person, but I won't help that person. But because I have vested, I don't vested interest or sentimental value in this life, but I don't have it in this life. You get what I'm saying? And then you start going, and then people go, hey man, the more people you tell no, the more profits we make. You get a bonus for that. And it's like, so you're paying people and giving people bonuses and making people rich off of other people's money, and when they're in a life or death situation, you're the one to tell them no because you want a new outfit, a new pair of shoes, a new car, maybe a Rolex, or you want to go on some fancy dining and go golfing and go on a couple of trips. That's why these people have to suffer and die. Not even when they did what you would say was right. And then and then the guy gets popped because of that, and people go, I don't understand. What's wrong with the world today? That's what's wrong with it. It pays to be a piece of ish. It's the same thing, say car insurance. You pay your car insurance every month, right? And you don't get in an accident. You might have, you might need AAA every now and then, but you paying these premiums every month, and then and if you get in a car accident and the accident isn't your fault, guess what? Your car insurance goes up. If the accident is your fault, guess what? Your car insurance goes up. If something happens to you, you got to argue with the same insurance company you've been paying for years and years and years for compensation for accident. And then they do little slick stuff like, hey man, your car got totaled, but man, you got to go to the hospital. Let me see if we could just, we could scam you and maybe just give you a price of a new car and just act like you could, your old car was worth $30,000. You went to the hospital, you had stuff happen to you. Maybe if we get you If we get you 29,000, we're gonna act like you can put 15 to a new car and 15 to, your medical bills. Ha ha, we made it. And it's like, what the fuck? Okay, this what we and then on the back end we're gonna charge this person, we're gonna up the insurance and we're gonna get some of that money back. And it's like, really, dog? So this what y'all and this what people get paid for. This what they get paid for. You're paying people to be, pieces of ish, right? You talk, if you know anybody in the military, there's a lot of people who are in the military. The reason they're in the military is because of poverty. That's what it was. It wasn't patriotism. It was poverty. That's what it was. So now you training, you kicking in doors in other countries, realizing, man, I'm doing this for a check. It ain't even a real. The reason we here is because some rich dudes wanted some other rich dude's stuff, and they didn't want to do fair business for it, so they sent us here to terrorize their whole country, so we could steal their stuff. That's what it is. And when you're the boots on the ground, you got to live with I just broken these people's houses, I done shot people's families, killed people's kids, and yada yada yada. I done tormented the whole, just people for no real reason. And then you go, man. and why did I go down this path initially? Because it paid. Because I needed the money. I didn't know this was I was signing up for per se, but I needed the money. You get what I'm saying? That's where these things go bad. Sometimes I think about that when when I bring up religion, you know, that's the knock on preaching and Christianity and prosperity preaching and all that, you know, is because, hey man, God gonna bless you, God gonna bless you, God gonna give you this and God gonna do this and God gonna, as long as you give me 1999, God gonna bless. So now you got people out here, hustling people's hope for a buck. And you like that person, God is blessing them. God ain't blessing them. Y'all blessing them with y'all money. That's what happened. Now we made, and it's sad to say this, but now we made God's blessing money. And it's got to be because now it's comparative to all the good people you see suffering who don't have money versus all the people that you're like, what's going on? This person's an asshole. And we attribute sometimes being an asshole with success. Like, you got to be an asshole. You don't have to be an asshole to be successful. People will be assholes because it's easy to get away with stuff when you're an asshole. It's just like if you watch any sporting event, right? And you see somebody who's dirty. When they do something dirty or they do something dirty a couple of times and nobody says anything, they let it slide. And then the person that they've done something dirty to responds, and then it's like, oh my God. Oh, but I see the changes in society because there's always been that other part of society where it's like, so what? I saw what they were doing. They were doing that person dirty. The person responded. Stop being on the wrong side of this. You get what I'm saying? That idea where, oh man, we're gonna be on the side of people who screw people over. Cause yeah, whatever that yeah is. It's like, all right, man, you better remember that. Because the very same villain that you root for is gonna be the villain that puts out your lights. But it pays to be a piece of ish. That's sad to say that. Because people think, when they scamming, finessing, getting over it, and I'm not gonna say, let me say this. There are a lot of dope people, good people, successful people that are great people, right? A lot of times, those people, where's my dog at? A lot of times, those people mind their business. There you go. They mind their business. They stay to themselves. They stay out of the way. They're not really on social media. They aren't trying to be seen, right? They're not trying to say, okay, I'm a good person and I made it in spite of all of the things society has that aren't conducive to good people. Oh, this dog jumping on me. Come on, man. Come on. So part of this is also that it's that this concept of you know a lot of times you don't see good people that are successful because they don't want to be seen, because part of that is good people that are successful know that there are bad people who are successful, and they make them targets. you know, those are the people who, I'm gonna start a fight with you to sue you. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to your house and trip over something and say, oh, you owe me $10 million because I can never work again. It's that type of stuff. It's that type of stuff. And it's so prevalent and so blatant nowadays that it's built, it's not just, it's always been built into the culture. It's American culture to be a piece of ish, stealing people's intellectual properties. A person invents something, somebody stole it. Nobody cares it got stolen, right? It's like, oh, that's okay. That type of stuff. You know, somebody owns a piece of property, you know, and it winds up being a nice piece of property. They cultivate it. What do people do? They steal it. They scam it. They use either corporations or business. Same thing. That was eminent domain and all of that stuff. And I can speak of that because I'm from a family who own land, cattle, and oil, and you know, the patriarch of the family died, and they tried to kill my great grandmother. So she had to move off of the property and hide, you know, and then they stole the property because of that. Because like I said, my great it wasn't like I never met my great grandmother. My great grandfather, I didn't. But my great grandmother, yeah. And and I know what that, I know the oh yeah, they tried to kill me, and and all they did was they went to the city hall and got this white dude to tell this white dude, hey, just change the name, buddy, and I'll be rich. You know, that's what that is. That's the society we live in. What's happening, fam? And people go, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool until it's cool. How he says, it's cool when you do it, it's a problem when I do it. Because people think, people, if, bad people, can be, what is it, conniving and unscrupulous and shrewd. And it's, yeah. But once good people go, okay, well, since we getting down like that, I'm at it. And it's like, no, you're a good person. You shouldn't be as how can I say this, as conniving as a bad person, because that's just wrong. And it's like, man, me as a person, I'm just like, I'm so sick of y'all people who y'all want to be predators when it's convenient and victims when you start getting hunted. That shit is so bitch made. That's why I don't believe a lot of people who play that role of I'm this or I'm that. It's like, okay, you a killer? Okay, well, you a killer when you getting hunted too, or you a killer when you just shooting what do you call that, soft targets? Nobody knows that I'm hunting and I got a gun. I'm a killer. It's like, okay, yeah, well, you see them people across the street? they got guns too, and they figured out that you hunting. So now you on the menu too. No, buddy, this is wrong. We have to, you know, you know, what do you call that? Please, get in touch with your higher self. Like, don't do that. And it's like, man, shut up. That's what happens in life. That's the crux of what's going on nowadays. You know, it becomes an issue where people go, hey man, you know, let me get over. And it's like, nah, man, nah, man, nah, that's not what's up. And you see it all the time because you've seen good people who become successful all the time. And what is their downfall? People around them all the people around them trying to nickel and dime them, or just outright just rob them in general. You've seen it a million times. You know, this person was they a good person. They just doing anything. What was their downfall? Their family, their friends, and the people that they were in business with, or the people that they thought they was in business with. And all of those family could have robbed them, friends could have robbed them, people that they thought was in business with could have robbed them. And what is the normal thing? Hey man, you should have been on your toes. You should, hey man, you should have seen it. You should have peeped it. You should know how people are. And it's like, oh, okay. It's funny that y'all say that because if you should have known, you should have peeped it, and you should know how people are. You should know those same people, if they get crossed like that, they're gonna have a visceral response. You should know that already. But then it's like, no, 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 no. People could plot and people could scam and people could cross you, but no, 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 no. You shouldn't be able to respond in the same when you realize, oh, I got plotted on. I got lined up. Or you shouldn't respond like that. It's like you shouldn't. That's very interesting, man. That is very fucking interesting. Everybody who did all the dirt should be able to ride off into the sunset and party every day and pop champagne and just travel the world like I got over on somebody by using the fact that I thought they thought I loved them. They thought we was family. They thought we was friends. They thought we was cool. They thought I had their back. Yeah, baby, I'm set for life. That's right. See me on Instagram. It's like, you bitch ass nigga. But maybe it's just me because I'm like a person like, hey man, get them. Get them. Break a bottle and shove it down their throat. Get them. But, it becomes an issue because it pays to be a piece of ish. And I'm not saying it pays for life. And I'm not saying it pays all the time. Because one thing I do know for sure, if you're a piece of ish, you're going to have you're going to have a terrible life. Terrible life. And you might have a few come ups here and there, but the hole you dug yourself, you'll never get out of it. Because for bad people, it costs too much to be a good person. And and that becomes an issue. You get what I'm saying? That becomes an issue. You see it. Oh, man. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna try my best not to cuss through this whole little thing I'm about to say. I've seen so many pieces of ish be comfortable off of somebody else's blood, sweat, and tears. Living off of the how can I say this? Living off of the payment of somebody else's blood, sweat, and tears. Kicking their feet up like, it's okay. You know what? I'm living good. They putting in all the work, they sacrifice, and they breaking their back. But me, it pays to be around them. I ain't gonna do shit. I ain't gonna do shit but being around it. It's like, come on, dog. What we doing? What we doing? And then you get that scenario and you're looking at people, you like, and we used to talk about this back in the day, how you get these people who they're doing good. Maybe just steady progression in life. They're going up and up and up. And the people that they're around start pulling them down and down and down. And the people that pull them down are swearing to them, oh man, you wouldn't be here without me. And then once they get rid of them people, they go back to going on an upward trajectory. And all the people that was just in the, there taken away, they just go down, 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 down. But for that time that they was riding that coattail, that time they was on a bandwagon, it was paying like a mother. You know what I'm saying? It pays. Being a piece of pays. And I don't even like talking about some of this stuff. Same thing like with family court, right? Child support. A lot of y'all don't want to. A lot of people didn't want to hear it, but I ain't gonna lie. A lot of these mothers are pieces of ish, and they get paid to be pieces of ish, and they become worse pieces of ish, and then they teach the kids to be pieces of ish, and now you got a generation of or generations of pieces of ish. Why? Because it paid to be that way. It paid to be that way. Why you had this whole get the bag culture? Why? Because it paid to go. Hey, this guy's a hard worker. This guy's successful. I'm gonna make this person. We gonna act like we in love. Hopefully we get together. Hopefully we get married. Now I'm in there, and then I don't really love you like that. No fault divorce. We out. We out. I got a payday though. You know. I know people who divorce people, and they still don't know. In about 15, 20 years, I'm gonna say I'm entitled to their retirement. It's like, really? Really? So let me get this right. You divorced them at 30, and when they turn 60, you just gonna pop up and go, hey man, I got half. Really? That's what you're doing. It pays. It's like, okay, all right. But I'm a good person. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Some of y'all, man, some people out here, man, I'm going to flip this around because I've been around the block. Some of y'all parents, family members, I've seen it, lived it. Y'all parents, y'all really charging y'all kids to be their parent. Like, this messed up my life and yada, yada, yada. You going to do the bare minimum, but you gonna make your kids suffer along the way, all the way until adulthood. You know what I'm saying? And then go, hey man, I made all these sacrifices. I did this, I did that. And truth be told, you did the bare minimum. You did the bare minimum for them. You did the bare minimum for yourself. The child, your kid or your kids was an excuse for you to check out. But you charging that kid. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it plenty of times. Kids get something happen. Kid comes into money because of whatever. You know what I'm saying? They grow up. They're successful young, or they wind up something happen. They got a settlement, but since they're still a child, it filters through the parents, and by the time that kid becomes an adult, nothing. Parents just in there. I had 3 Lexuses and a couple of furs and some jewelry, and then we went on a bunch of trips and we got all these pictures. It's like, you bitch ass niggas. But people go, you know, but it paid. And it's like, paid. It paid. It paid, huh? Seen people stealing inheritances, you know, or just flat out stealing. Parents stealing from their kids. Just, I'm your mom, I'm your daddy. Uh-huh. Right, right. It paid. But see, it comes with a cost, though. It comes with a cost. A lot of times people, and you know, people don't want to, people want to do dirt for money, but they really don't want to pay the price. And usually the price is a whole lot more than whatever you made or whatever you got out of that. But it still pays. You know, like I said, even on this YouTube thing, what do you think all of this conflict is about? You got a bunch of people who, honestly, they're out of their fucking minds. They're on social media saying and doing the most outlandish shit because it pays. Because if I say or do some dumb shit that's salacious, people go, that's entertaining. You know, that's how I think. No, you think like that because you a bitch ass. You an asshole. You know, I used to tell people sometimes, man, it's good to look at sometimes it's good to look at people's platforms and look at viral things. Because when you look in the comment section, you'll see how many people gravitate to that and agree with that. And you realize we got a society full of people who are bitch made. So when you wonder how come this person is like this and they get to all these views and that, because it's a lot of bitch ass people out there. What are you talking about? That's why. And a lot of times people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of it, man. That's the reality. Like people enjoy other people's suffering. Sad. It's sad to say that, but it's true. You know, family member dying of cancer, somebody like, yeah, whatever. You know, somebody got their identity stolen, yeah, I don't care. It's like, what the fuck? Somebody had a mental breakdown because, you know, they grieving. Oh, fuck them, they're weak. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. All right, I hear you. You know, what was that? It was Rocky. It was Rocky. Was it Rocky Balboa? Like the last one, not the last Rocky, when he fought like Antonio Tarver, and he was like, he went to the boxing commission. He's like, don't I have rights? And they're like, yeah. What do you mean rights? So he basically told him, and I forget the scene, but he says, you know, so you telling me if y'all tell me I got to do X, Y, and Z, and I make the sacrifices, and I put in the time, I put in the effort, and I pay the freight, you know, I do everything that you say is supposed to do. You get to just deny me because you just sitting here. So you make the rules for me to adhere to the rules to say it's cool, but once I adhere and do exactly what you said, I should be clear to go. But you go, nah. It's like, what the fuck? You know, so you know, and that's the thing in America in general. America has had this thing where it gets enjoyment out of shitting on people's dreams, out of being the obstacle in the way, or being the one that closed the door on somebody. That, like, people get a kick out of that. And then and these same people, you know, they look for somebody who, you know, how can I say this? I've seen people, you know, try to slam the door in somebody's face, and you close one when you close one door, another door open, and then they come around like, hey man, I'm proud of you for the way that you, when I slammed the door on your face, that you found another door and you became successful. I'm proud of you. I'm gonna give you a pat on the back. Man, fuck you. You know, that's part of the reason why um, God is so important in the world, you know, in life and in America, because the thing about God is God knows that a lot of people are full of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say it, like God, if they close a door, God opens another one. If you know, if they had an obstacle over here and a hurdle you jumped over, you landed over here. Because now, like there's always somebody who's gonna pay you to be a piece of shit. You got to think about that. It's like monopoly for the soul. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna pay you to make sure they don't pass go. I'm gonna pay you to make sure that they can't, you know, they can't go from here to there. I'm gonna pay you to make sure that they're not successful. This is, you know, this is what we're doing. This is what this country's been doing. This is what the world has been doing. That is the flip side to opulence. You know, when you know that's the flip side to let me say it this way. Every great place where people think is rich, you know, have a lot of poor people getting grinded up for other people to come by and say, "Oh, it looks nice over here." You got to remember, there are more poor people than rich people. There are more good people than bad people. But the problem is, people have been paying more to be bad. Because the flip side is this, you know, people will tell you people sold their soul. They don't never say they sold their soul to God. You know what I'm saying? They never, selling your soul is equivalent to selling your soul to the devil for something monetary. It's gonna be perverted even if you get it, but it's something monetary. Like that's what I'm saying. Being a piece of ish pays. And then I'm gonna say this. There are a lot of people in the world who are jealous of other people and who are hateful towards other people because those people aren't them. And what I mean is aren't like you have lazy people jealous of hardworking people, but lazy people got in a position right now that's above hardworking people. You got you got you got undisciplined people mad at disciplined people, mad at people who have discipline. You get what I'm saying? You got mean spirited people mad at people because they're happy. You got old people mad at people because they're young. You got dumb people mad at people because they're smart, or smart people mad at people because they're dumb. And not even dumb. I ain't gonna say like sometimes you have people who you how can I say this? You have people who are I ain't gonna say strong willed because that ain't the right way. People who are weak minded mad at people who are strong minded. You know, people who can who are resilient. Yeah, people who are sensitive mad at people who are resilient. And it's hard and sometimes it's hard to tell because of the way things look in the world. Like you would think that person, oh, that person's weak. No, the person that's weak is the person you think is strong, because they're trying to, like me and my wife was talking about something, bullying. It was like, and I saw it on YouTube too, or Instagram, one of them. Bullies don't pick on people. Bu- bullies use their, if a person is bigger than a person, they bully somebody smaller. They don't bully somebody their size. If a bully is violent, they don't pick on another. They don't bully a violent person. They bully somebody who's non-violent. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the target. Because the target is, I want an easy win. And it pays to have an easy win. You get a reputation of being such and such because you got 15, 20, 100 easy wins. That's why I said it pays to be a piece of ish. Like for me, I'm like, don't make, I have my moments in life where things annoy me, because you can do all the right things in life, but because you're around all the wrong people, it works out horribly. Because the people around you, they don't want to see you do any good. What's happening? And sometimes, and the crazy part about it is why I say, it pays to be a piece of ish, because the way society works, at least in the imagery, they make it look like people who did all the wrong things in life wound up having a team of all these supportive people, and it helped them become successful. That's how they make that shit look. Oh, yeah, that's why you had people, oh man, I dropped out of school and became a success. Oh, you know what? I was dealing dope and became a success. Oh, you know what? I just was goofing around my life and just was walking around being a pothead, and I just became a success. I was just, I was just good. My parents were doing good. I was just bullshitting in my dad's garage, and became a success. And it's like, hey man, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, I just happened to be, this person was doing all the right things, and it's like, okay, and what did you do? Oh, I got on my phone one day and went viral, going suck a dick, and then now I'm a success. It's like, what the fuck? I got all this stuff around me. It's just like, oh, okay, all right, man, all right, and it comes, it starts to make a point in life, like people go, okay, we tripping. Y'all tripping, because at some point this is gonna have to stop. Because now, and I'm gonna say it in a simple way, we get to a point where it's way beyond critical mass now, where people think, hey man, doing things, this is why even you have the, man, why should I go to college and get an education? For what? It's a waste of time, because you know it pays to be a piece of doing all right, going to college and getting an education. Now you have people going, hey man, I can make money off of people going to college and getting an education to become successful in life. Hey, I know we're gonna raise the price 100 times, 1,000 times. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And then when people go, man, I ain't even going no more. Fuck it. What's gonna happen to society? It's gonna fall apart. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna fall apart. And then when people go, well, where are the people where are the good people? Let me say this. Y'all been paying bad people so long. The good people walked away decades ago. decades ago. Because it doesn't pay to be a good person. And should it pay to be a good person? I think it should. I think it should. But it doesn't pay to be a good person. There is no Christmas bonus for being a good person. I remember I was kind of with I was talking to a friend of mine. We was talking about something. It's basically it was talking history, and basically there was a guy who got rich. He got rich. He started a business that was kind of dangerous at the time. He got rich. He started getting rich doing it. Then he started price gouging people to get exceedingly richer, and then he became wealthy. And as he got older, like when I say gouging, he was gouging the hell out of people. You know. And as he got older, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a little charity. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." And he was like, he was a good person. I was like, that dude was a piece of shit. He's like, what do you mean? I said, listen, having a business is cool. But once he got to the point where he spent years and years just gouging people because he could, and you gonna say, oh, after that he decided to give a couple of dollars back in the end, that made him a good person. No, it's like get the money back to the people he fucked over. That's what that is. He wouldn't give a dime back to them. You know, that's like scamming people for $1 million and spending, $25,000 on charity. I'm a good person. No, you're not. You're an asshole. That's bullshit. But it pays. It pays to be a piece of shit. And then how can I say this? Sometimes things mentally that things are inverted, right? So let me use it in a biblical sense. Like they'll tell you, heaven is streets paved with gold and and rubies and pearls and jewelry and all that, and hell is just a dungeon, right? And then while you living, if you do devilish shit, you'll get money on earth, but you're gonna go to hell. But if you suffer on earth, you're gonna go be rich in heaven. And the problem with that is this. The problem with that is this. And I'm just say this in an American sense. Just in an American sense. All my ancestors that was in slavery, that wasn't to go to heaven. You get what I'm saying? That was, and all the people who were slave owners and the people who benefited off of that. Oh, yeah, they probably in hell, yeah. But that's what you're telling me, because it wasn't designed that way. People, and that's the bulk of the issue where people go, everything is just ordained and everything is already, God got it already set up a certain way. It's like no, God gave you the ability to make choices. It's okay, baby. I get it. Yeah. God gave you the ability to make choices. And a lot of times people play this game like, is things, whether they're good or bad or destiny and ordained. No, it's not. Y'all should have read the Bible a long time. I put before you life and death. You choose. You choose life or death. It wasn't ordained to you. You have to make decisions. You'll be judged in the book of life on your works. That's in Revelations. You don't just go. You don't just die and people judge and go, "Hey, I believe in Jesus Christ. We good." No, you judged on what you do. It But it becomes a situation where people have been paid to be a piece of shit so long. Having a conversation, man. I was listening to something, man, today, and on YouTube, in the last couple of days, actually, and it hit home because some of these, like, they be having these little made up fictitious stories of, you know, fallouts with family, fallouts with friends, just people falling out, getting lied on, and people coming into money, and in the family trying to kick them to the curb or didn't know they was those type of stories, right? And the sad part about it was, some people go, man, those stories are entertaining, but they're not true. And I'm like, no, they're true. I've lived some of those stories. you know, and there was a couple in there I was listening to that made me think, like, man, let me say this. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this off my chest in this way. So, I had a situation. I was talking to my wife about this recently, and I'm trying to figure out if I know a particular person. You know what I'm saying? Of like, this person looks familiar, but the person looks familiar, but they had to do something, but their occupation um, involved something that's very near and dear to my life. And I'm looking at the person like, where do I know this person from? You know, I feel their bias in what they was doing, but I was like, I think I know this person. And I said, man, if I come across this person as who I think it is, I'm gonna whoop they fucking ass. And she's like, baby, you might go to jail. And I'm like, and she's right. But my mind was like, I don't care. I'm gonna whoop they fucking ass. Because if the person is who I think it is, because I ain't seen this person in damn near 30 years. And I don't live in the places I grew up. So I'm like, did I come across somebody that I know from the past when I was young, and it dawned on, like, I still ain't figured that part out, but when I started thinking about that and life in general, I started putting together that there are some people in life who their their motivation in life comes from a place where I was on the bottom, so now I got to be on the top, and I'm gonna do, what was done to me when I was on the bottom, and I'm like, yeah, I couldn't do that, but if that's you, that's you. But here's the thing, though. Nobody's untouchable and nobody's invincible. You know what I'm saying? And when I say it pays to be, some people got paid so much to be a piece of shit they think they're untouchable. And I be like, nah, you not, you not. and I and me, uh, boy, I was trying. Man, I see what you're writing, time. Um, this is why I'm about to say it this way. Another thing I saw something earlier today that was like, and it's sad to say this. It's like a woman was in the military for years, and she made more on OnlyFans than she ever made while she was in the military. And it's like, that's so fucked up. That is so fucked up. And I thought about it, when they said, hey man, you had people working in hotels that they could never afford to live in. To spend the night at. You got people working at car dealerships who couldn't afford the cars. You get what I'm saying? You got people working for home builders who can't afford a home. Just common sense shit, right? You got people working for all types of businesses, and they can't afford the service of the business that they're working for. And people are cool with that. People are cool with that. And it's not just that people are cool with that. People get a kick out of it. That always bothers me. But you know, that's crazy. You know, that's crazy. And, and sometimes, you know, I'm a turn this a little bit because I know this to be true too. There are some people who have survivor's remorse, and they know they've been a piece of shit, and they know they got a lot of, let's just say, grace, even though they was a piece of shit, and they got survivor's remorse because they're looking around at people around them like, this shouldn't be me. After After all the shit I did, this shouldn't be me. This should be them. This should be them. This should be them. But this shouldn't be me. And shout out to those people. And the reason I'm gonna say it that way is shout out to them because at least they got some sense of in the heart. And the reason I say it that way is because sometimes the survivor's remorse is like, I don't think God did this. You know what I'm saying? Like some people go, man, the only reason I'm here is because of God. After all the shit I've done is God. And then other people sit back and they go, I don't think that was God. Because I can't believe that God is so good and God is so gracious and God does all this good stuff for all these people, but I ain't seen him doing nothing good for the good people even around me. But I'm seeing him do all kinds of, wondrous stuff for people that ain't that good. You get what I'm saying? Like, some people with survivor's remorse can see what I'm talking about. If, all the successful people are pieces of shit. All the lawyers are pieces of shit. I ain't gonna say all, but the majority of them pieces of shit. Then the lawyers you work for are pieces. The lawyers that you need are pieces of shit. The people who are in business, are pieces of shit. And now you're surrounded by a bunch of successful people who are pieces of shit. And it's like, I don't know if that's God. I can't just say, oh, God did that. Cause now you're saying, cause people are, now I forget flawed, but people are assholes. Because you're an asshole and you worked hard, you were more successful than the person that worked just as hard as you. That's not an asshole. That don't even make no goddamn sense. That don't make no sense. That person's a good person, but they didn't make it because I ain't like them. And I'm gonna go back, even as backing up in time, where a lot of times people. Yeah, I gotta say this. I've seen this enough when I was younger, from childhood to an adult. I've seen people who are young, people who are kids, teenagers, young adults, grown men and women. I've seen the pieces of shit get more support because I see something in you. You can be more than your situation. I know you made mistakes, but you could bounce back. And it's like, yo, this is why I say, it pays to be a piece of shit because there's a lot of support in it. There's a support system for people for people who are piece of shit. There's not a support system for people who are cool people. If you're a piece of shit, you can make multiple mistakes in life that were on purpose. I'm not gonna say everybody could do that because that's not true. But I've seen too many people who've been assholes for a long period of time get all this quote unquote grace and all these chances. And I've seen people who didn't do none of that bullshit and they get written off. Something about them. I know what it is. They ain't an asshole. I can't trust a person without a little edge. Little edge, huh? That's interesting. It's interesting you say that. You know, and I'm gonna say something that's crazy. Well, it ain't really crazy. When I learned that people monetize that, I knew it was something. It was wild. When I realized that was part of Floyd Mayweather's marketing strategy. You know what? I could be. Let me just be an asshole. Everybody will tune in. Muhammad Ali got that. That's the premise of wrestling, being the heel. You know what I'm saying? Being the bad guy. The bad guy. Everybody hates the bad guy so much they bought the ticket because I want to see the bad guy lose. I don't give a shit about the good guy. It's harder to be the good guy that everybody wants to see win than it is the bad guy that everybody wants to see lose. Crazy, but it's real because it pays. But I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a good one. That's just my thoughts for the night, man. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.